Okay, let us take a look at an example that uses the table of outcomes to help us to find the required probabilities. Okay, so what you have here is a die which is fair, so every side has the same probability, and this die is thrown twice. So what we can do is we can draw a table of outcomes, all right, where if you look at part 1 here, the row will be the outcomes of the first row. Okay, and then the column will be the outcomes of the second row. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now the first part want us to find the probability that the total score is 6. So I add up the numbers for each row and each column, okay, as you can see in the diagram given, and then I count how many outcomes are 6. Okay, so as you can see, the outcomes that are 6 are highlighted. So to find the probability that the total score is 6 is the number of items or the number of elements such that you have a total score of 6 divided by the total outcome, which is the total number in the table. Okay, so how many 6 do you have? We have 5. In the whole table, how many numbers do you have? You have 36. Okay, so that's how we use our table outcome. Now, for part 2, I need to find the probability that the first row is an even number. I can still use the same table. Okay, we have the same table here. If I want even numbers, means that it's either a 2 or a 4 or a 6. Okay, so all I have to do is to count how many items or how many items are there in each column, and then you add together, that gives you 18, right? And divided by the total number of outcomes, which is 36. Okay, so that will give you half. Alright, moving on, next, part 3. Now we have conditional probability. We want to find that the probability that the total score is 6, given that the first row is an even number. Okay, so this is our condition that is given to us. So normally, for using the conditional probability formula, it will be easier if we can define our events, okay, using letters, capital letters. So here I'm going to let S be the total score of 6 and let E represent that the first row is an even number. Okay, so which means that I want to find the probability of S given E. So as you can see here, what we're going to do is we're going to use the conditional probability formula. Okay, then now I find the respective probabilities. So for the first one is total score of 6, which is these 5 numbers here, okay, intersect with E, which is even numbers. So as you can see, the only intersection will be here and here. Okay, so I have 2 out of 36, which is 1 over 18. Then the probability of E is even number, right? Which actually we have found previously, so it's half. Okay, so that gives you your conditional probability. Now, alternatively, if you look at method 2, okay, if you want to use the reduced sample space idea, then what you need to do is, first of all, you need to find out what is the reduced sample space, which in this case will be the 3 highlighted columns for the even numbers. Okay, then you just count the number of items that is within the 3 columns that satisfies the condition of S intersect E, okay, which is 2. Alright, now the last one, which is also a conditional probability question. Find the probability that the first row is an even number given that the total score is 6. So it's the other way around, right? Now the condition is that the total score is 6. Okay, so let's see what we do. So I can actually use the S and E that I have defined earlier. Okay, we don't need to define again. So we're going to use the conditional probability formula. So first thing, state the formula, okay, then count. So even intersect score 6, as you can see, is 2 out of 36, right? And then all the scores are 6. Okay, there are only 5 of them. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so 5 out of 36, so that gives you the required probability. And of course, if you still want to use the reduced sample space, same thing, reduce to the required sample space first, which is all the total score is 6. Then you count how many are them, how many of them are such that the first row is an even number. Okay?